Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, as usual, a pocket check. We're doing our Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway tonight, and that is the Badfeather Knives Raider Creek EDC. Then we have, or to do that, we're going to have Dan Vorhis of Badfeather Knives with us to help give that away. I'm very excited to meet him in person. We've corresponded via email for quite some time, and I look forward to meeting him and giving away the Raider Creek he sent in, the Raider Creek EDC he sent in. This is not that one. That Raider Creek is tucked away in its box. I haven't even opened, well, I opened the box, made sure that it was there. But I've just been using mine, so I'll be showing this off, and then you will get yours totally pristine without having touched my mortal hands. OG Blade Reviews, nice to have you here, sir. Greetings, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Hey, this makes 2 in a row. Hey, I got to say, tonight we are ending at 11:30, so we're only going an hour and a half tonight. I have to get up insanely earlier than usual, which is usually pretty early, to take my daughter somewhere early in the morning. So I'm gonna have to bug out of here at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. B Shady 22, nice to have you here, B Shady. Thumbs up twice to you, my man. Doug Bowl, always a pleasure, Doug. I have the, he says, hi, Bob, Jim, and Blade Fanatics. I happen to have the Ski and Do you gave me out on the desk. It's kind of a permanent fixture right now. What a cool knife. Beautiful pattern weld Damascus there. Ground Fog, nice to have you here, Ground Fog. Always good to have Ground Fog waving at us. Sword XXXY, he stands to win, perhaps, the Badfeather Knives Raider Creek EDC. Good day to you, sir, Jim and Junkies, he says. Have a nice day. Very nice to have you. Have a nice day. Happy Thursday Night Knives, Junkalos. I have received my new knife from Emerson Knives called the All-American knife. I've been looking at that. That is a cool one. Yet another Bowie from him, and I love Ernest Emerson's Bowie designs. Bowie style blade with "We the People" layered on the blade. It's a good looking one, and I can't think of anyone more deserving to have that knife than our 82nd Airborne representative. War Room EDC, nice to have you here. What, y'all? What up, y'all? For a second, it looked like, what the hell is up? I don't know why. Maybe that's just what I was thinking, but good to have you here, man. Mike Hauser, also a pleasure. Howdy, H. Well, howdy to you, sir. Split and Slices, we have Byron with us. Howdy, Bob, Jim, Togata, Mr. Rexu, Junkies. It's Thursday Night Knives. Yeah, Thursday night, you know, the beginning of the weekend, I like to say. Craig Vincent says, evening good, Blade folk. Craig Vincent, always a pleasure. Great to have you here with us. Will be as well. Stands to win. Evening, Jim, Bob, and Junkies. Hopefully everyone has had a good week full of their favorite blades. I sure have. I know I have. Actually, today I carried, you will see during the pocket check, carried something I haven't carried in a while, but is definitely an analog for one of my very few folding grails. I can only think of 3 actual grails that I have on the folder side right now. And today I was carrying sort of an analog. Joseph S., nice to have you here, Joseph S. He gives the cornuto and the peace symbol. It's good to have you here, man. Adrian Fighter 35. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Well, Adrian, it's a pleasure having you here. And that's how I feel with this less of the saggy eyes. I do notice, though, dry January, I don't have bags under my eyes like usual. I mean, they're there. Those are congenital, but I mean, the extra bags. Don't have them. Autumn Wind, nice to have you here. Hello, all, he says, presumably he. Good to have you here, man. King of Knives, what's up, people? Well, what's up with you, King? Donald Fry, nice to have Donald with us. Howdy, Bob, Jim, and fellow junkies. Glad to be here tonight. Well, we are glad to have you here with us. Here's one. Here's a Bowie that I just pulled out. I kind of forgot I had. This is the Kudaman Bowie. I think Kudaman and Joker and another Spanish company are all kind of one. I think this stands for Joker Bowie knife, but I could be wrong about that. Just a great Bowie. I've been swinging this one around, pretending to be James Bowie. I've been using the Mountain Man style a bit, you know, where you hold it backwards, use that swedge as your primary hack and and gouge and tear side, and then you do the old heave ho with the disemboweling move. Very gruesome stuff we're talking about, but it is cool, and it is a part of the American tradition of Bowie knife fighting. These are Spanish, and they are molybdenum. I can never say it. I feel like a reject when I try and say that word, but it's stainless steel that's high in molybdenum. Molybdenum. And unfortunately, it's spelled in Spanish on the blade, so I can't even try and sound it out without looking it up. So anyway, I love that thing. Anyone have a Joker or a Kudaman? Such a nice. I love that shape. Like this is the shape of Bowie knife, including the handle and the guard, that you would see like on the cover of like a 1950s cowboy movie, cowboy book, yes, but also like a sci-fi book where a cowboy, I don't know, maybe I saw this, but like there's a cowboy and he's being confronted by aliens coming off a spaceship or something. I feel like he would have this Bowie knife. And maybe now that I'm saying that, I've seen that somewhere, because growing up, we had this awesome book of sci-fi art. I wonder if that book, I'm sure that thing has been given away. My parents, when they moved, they got rid of some. We had a house full of books, and that was a cool one, but I think that's gone with the wind, just like Tuesday. But anyway, love that knife. Pulled that out. Been using it. Well, not using it, just fussing with it. Another one I want to show off before the pocket check. This is one that Dave, this old, I keep saying that. Sorry, Dave, but you are this old sword to me also. But OG Blade Reviews, Dave, sent this in a box of knives. This is currently being fostered in my collection until it finds its forever home. And who knows, this could be its forever home. I did put changed out the dangler. This is the modern gladius. It's a great sort of modern version of the gladius, a fighting knife, a dagger, but it comes with such a curious dangler. The dangler on the sheath is evocative of like a totally bushcraft kind of knife, something you're getting in and out of your truck and your tractor and all that with, not a tactical knife. So I put the very tactical attachment on there for the belt, but I've been really digging this thing. It is a cool one. Have a Knife Day says, I have the Stag Joker Bowie. How's that Stag handle? I almost got that when I was when I got the Kudaman. I almost got one of those, but it looked like a really giantly thick Stag handle. I'm just curious how your mileage is. James Hart, nice to have you here, James. Good evening, all. Almost forgot about tonight. Oh man, I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't. James has been in the comments. I haven't answered comments in about 2 days now, but I'm resolved to be keeping up with them because they're great and you guys are great. And for a while I fell off there, but I'm back. Craig Vincent says, had a Spyderco Para 3 Magna Cut arrive on Saturday. Very nice. A Cold Steel SRK Compact come today. Ooh, Craig, I like this. And a Talwar 5.5 coming tomorrow. So yeah, it was a normal knife week. And that's awesome. Well, let's see. Have a Knife Day says, very nice. Large Bowie Crown Stag. OG Blade Review says, that Modern Gladius is a collab with Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Smoky Mountain Knife Works has some pretty tremendous collaborations. And I'm thinking now of the Night Horse that I know Dave has a number of examples of. That is a collaboration with Beyond EDC, which hopefully is not, hopefully they're just on a little, in a little fallow spell and they come back. Benedict Odie, nice to have you here, sir. Howdy, y'all, he says. Well, howdy to you, man. Good to have you, Benedict. All right. I do want to do this because we have our guest coming shortly. So I want to make sure that we do get to a pocket check.
What's in his pocket? Let's find out. Here's the Knife Junkie with his pocket check of knives.
Okay, so I was being cryptic about having the analog to one of my grails here. I have 3 folding knife grails, really. One of them is anything from Miguel Barbudo. The other is, or another one is the Sharp by Design arch nemesis of any sort, and then the third is anything by Charles Marlowe, but especially a squall or squale, as Boker calls it. So I had this in my pocket today, very thin, very slicey, hollow ground VG10 blade. I love this. One of the most beautiful drop point blades I have ever laid my eyes on. And then here is like the rear cockpit of this looks like an Italian racing boat to me. That's what I always think of when I see the blade of this. It looks like a boat, and here's like a wave kind of splashing up against the hull. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous knife. That's a 4-inch blade. That's a titanium. Those are titanium bolsters and liners. And this is the G10 version. At the time I got this, and I don't even know if this is in production anymore. The original ones had green micarta with that gray bolster, which is obviously the most beautiful version of this, but it was tip down only, which I just could not abide by. So, and then they came out with this, with the clip down here. And then after I got this, I believe for a short period, they had the green micarta version tip up. So I didn't get the one I wanted exactly, but this will do. This will do. Also at the same time, Boker dropped this, which has to be, I don't know, definitely more than 10 years ago. They did another Marlowe design. It was a smaller one called the Bullpup, and it had a beautiful clip point blade. Stasa 23 has one, and I've a couple of times in the past been like, hey, I'm here. If you ever want to get rid of that knife, let me know. And he's like, hell no. He likes it too. So just a beautiful knife. Let me back this thing away. I think I'm touching the table with it, and it's moving around. You'll have to forgive a little bit of background reveal there. Okay, so that in the back pocket, this has been a hard one to kick out, but why even would I? Why even should I? The beautiful new Jack Wolf Knives After Hours Jack, this one with the dark matter red carbon fiber, and that dark blasted titanium is so beautiful. I'm sorry, dark washed titanium bolster. So beautiful. This one has the had a little bit of fingernail left in the choil, or in the fuller. This one has the machine ground satin S90V blade. There are a couple of, there's a hand rubbed version. I believe there's a black bladed version in this run, and just a great knife. It goes so well in my back left pocket next to my bandana. It's kind of coming out for constant use. I've used that a lot. I just dig it, and it's very sharp, very thinly ground, full hollow grind. Beautiful. Everything today, except for my emotional support knife, has a hollow grind. On my belt today with a new carry method, running this horizontally across the front of the belt. And this is the Nova 2, made by Hogtooth Knives and co-designed by myself and Matt Chase. The blade is mine, the handle's his, and man alive, it's a marriage made in heaven. It feels so good in hand. I had this, and I really do like carrying up front like that. And it's not for nothing that I may have gained a little bit of girth over the holidays that I'm slowly but surely getting rid of. So in the waistband is maybe not as comfortable as it has been recently, though I have been practicing with something much thicker that's been going in the waistband, and that's working out. So, but I do like that. I'm very used to that sort of draw, especially since I've been carrying the Agent 001 so much on that horizontal front mount. And then lastly, my emotional support knife today, my ESK, if you will. Yep, I've been carrying this a lot. This I wasn't carrying today, but I had in my bag close at hand, and that's the Station 9 Undercover. That's the number 12. They number all their products. The number 12 goes by the nickname the Undercover, and it is a absolutely phenomenal upswept Persian-y kind of, but also kind of Picali style blade with the serrations on the back. Great for trapping and painful disengagement of trapping. And you're not going to be setting traps and sawing logs with that saw, but it's definitely there to rip and tear, we'll say. My video on this will be out tomorrow. Also, Dave has a great video on his. Man, I was jealous when he got his first. I was like, man, I can't believe I haven't moved on it. And Dave has his now. And damn it, Mike Hauser says, not accidental connection today. YouTube working as it should. All right. Brian Kerr, nice to see you, Brian. Good evening, everyone, he says. Good evening to you, sir. So this is what I had on me today. What did you have on you? Let me know. Drop it in the comments below. Average Mountain Biker says, how's it going, y'all? It's good to see you, Average Mountain Biker, with your Jackson Charvel, I believe that is, guitar. What knife would you recommend for a ski trip? Something fixed. Well, you know what's kind of interesting? Funny you should say that. Blade HQ, the new guy, or not the new guy, but the guy that has been doing the Blade HQ videos. What did I get on the handle? All right, I'm gonna have to take care of that later. The guy who's been doing the videos for Blade HQ, the blonde guy, was talking about the DeMarco, not the Armiger. What is it? That really nice outdoors DeMarco knife. He said it would be great for a ski trip because it's a robust knife, but also it's now coming in colors that are very likely to match your ski stuff. But I would say a fixed blade, something small-ish, but something that isn't going to get lost in your gloved hand. Since we're talking DeMarco, I can personally vouch for the Armiger. That is a great series of knives. And it comes in 3 different blade shapes: your American Tanto, your drop point with a sharpened swedge, which is good, and a clip point. Clip point is probably the most utilitarian. The other 2 are somewhat tactical, but also you might consider that other fixed blade, the first one that they came out with, name I'm not so sure about, but great sheaths on those knives. They come apart, unlike most Kydex sheaths. They come apart, and you can clean them, put them back together. So check that out. And as for a folder, maybe something from the Salt series, Spyderco, because wet and sweat while skiing. So something with an LC200N or Magna Cut blade. Brian Kerr says, carried the Rat 1 today. That's a great one. It's a classic. Nothing to sneeze at there, that's for sure. James Hart, I used my Cold Steel Magnum Tanto with the 12-inch blade. That's pretty cool. To break down boxes today. Lots of Amazon boxes to deal with. Nice thing about breaking down boxes with something big, I use frequently I'll use the Luzon, the 6-inch Luzon, is that you can just keep cutting and you're not running out of the cut there. Will B says, Olamic Soloist. Oh, here we go. This is going to be awesome. Microtech Amphibian, Benchmade Rift, one that you don't hear about much, but my favorite of that series, with the Contigo on one end and the 940 on the other, Rift right in the middle, beautiful. Microtech Hera 2, the T-Kel Guardian, Olight Baton 3, Ace Beam Tac 2 AA, and Cool Hand G10 bolt pen. Very nice carry as usual, Will. I forgot to mention, I have been carrying these quite a bit, so I figured I'd put them in my, show them off anyway. I had the Olight i3T. This is a great one just to drop in the pocket. And I really, it's got 2 settings, that and the bright. And then I also love the way it's got the hat clip. I got a couple of these banging around. Yeah, this one's great. I love it. And I've been carrying my Zippo a lot. I mean, I have a bunch. I have about 5 Zippos, all from high school and early college, so they're pretty old. This one was, I got this because I've been smoking pipes lately. I got this when I was smoking a different kind of pipe back in college, but that didn't last long. And this flavor with that flavor was nasty, but this is quite nice with the tobacco I've been smoking. London, what is it called? It's like London Mist or something like that. Really nice. Unfortunately, my ladies don't like it, but they don't have to like it. I just don't smoke it inside. That's all. OG Blade Review says, carrying the Williams Osoraku Zukuri folder integral. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me reread this. The Williams Osoraku Zukuri folder, integral spectral carbon fiber. You lost me there at the end. Are you saying it's an integral carbon fiber handle? That's pretty cool, if so. But either way, it's a Williams design. It's going to be awesome. The Concept Deadite, the TKL Adversary, the Best Tech Eccentric, the Station 9 number 12. Excellent choice. The Armis VSK1. Oh, that is so cool. And he sells a sheath that's sort of a universal sheath for paring knives. So you can travel with your sheath, show up in whatever town you're in, buy a cheap paring knife, and it'll fit right in that sheath. Armis, I'm very interested. We're going to be talking at some point here soon. North Mountain Blade Chop. That's a cool one. That's that Tonto, right, with the hamon. Loop Gear SK05 Pro Dual Beam. Okay, so that's a flashlight. Which I'm getting a little slightly more into flashlights. Jay Demeter, hola Bob and gang. Well, hola to you, sir. It's nice to have you with us as always. Ed, wow. Well, wow, man. I'm glad you're here. I'm not sure what you're wowing, but it could be some of the beautiful knives I have on the table, or that others have been showing off virtually. I would break it in my back pocket. No, you wouldn't, Jay. You wouldn't. Well, I don't know you. Maybe you would, but it sits really nicely in the seam, in jeans or in khakis, and you nestle it right up to the left seam. It's almost on the side. You're not sitting directly on it. Maybe if you were in like the bucket seat of a race car, it would be fussy, but really it's kind of out of the way there. And it's a spot where I frequently carry my emotional support knives if I'm carrying something small. And it's great. And it also trains you a little better on, it kind of forces you to use your left hand. John Nauber, nice to have you here, John. I carried the Medford Marauder. Very nice. I like the Marauder, and I like its little version too, the slender version. Todd Carr, evening, everyone. Well, good evening to you, Todd. Paul Mills said, I carried my mini FSD and my ABW slip joint. So the ABW, American Blade Works slip joint. FSD, I'm always forgetting what that is, what that stands for, Paul. And then you say what it is, and then I say, oh, yeah, and I love that. And damn it, I can't remember what it is. Brian Kerr, I gained entirely too much girth over the holidays. It's like an annual tradition for me, but if I can still wear the same pants, I feel like it's a wash. Let me show you. Oh, Mike Hauser says ESK, LOL. I'll use that with TSA. Yeah, I need this to get on the plane. This is what we're giving away to one lucky Gentleman Junkie tonight. This is not the third Thursday of the month. This is the fourth Thursday. But the month started on a Thursday. That's always a little weird, a little awkward. And Dan Vorhis, who will be joining us here in just a moment, sent this to me last week. I received it on Thursday. So I decided this would have to wait because this is what we're going to be giving away at 11. Period. Because I have to go at 11:30 tonight. No cap, as the kids say. Jay Demeter says, had a Spyderco Police Lightweight in K390. So nice. Now a dagger knife, 4-inch in M390. Now a dagger knife, 4-inch in M390. Do you mean dagger with 2 R's from Russia? Is that what we're talking about? A dagger. Joseph S. had a Doug Ritter RSK Mark 1 G2 Bradford Guardian 3. I've always wanted a Bradford. I just need to get one. Tops backup and a Thai Marlin spike. Marlin spikes are so cool. I'm surprised there aren't more tactical knives like the Billy Wah tactical knife that has the Marlin spike on it. So cool. I need to get one of those. They are not inexpensive and they are not easy to get either. Average Mountain Biker says it's actually an LTK. Okay, I'm sorry, an LTD limited, an LTD Kirk Hammett signature. Kirk Hammett. Oh, the guitar. I was going to say, isn't he a rock star? But you're okay. All right. Thank you. He was in what? Was he in Metallica? Kirk Hammett? Is that Metallica? Donald Fry says, had the Spyderco Manix 2XL large case copper lock. I've always wanted a copper lock, and the Manix 2XL is awesome. And he's leaving us on tenterhooks here. Spyderco Manix 2 large case and a Bradford Guardian 3. Very, very nice. Well, it seems our guest Dan is here with us, and look at that. It's like I say it and I evoke him. How you doing?
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Can you hear me okay?
I can indeed.
Very
it's
good.
Great to talk to you in person. And I see you're wearing clothes. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of. No, yeah, nice to see you in person. Hi to everybody out there.
So just so that random comment doesn't seem too weird, Dan said, I'll come on your show, but I only do podcasts naked. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, he said we're okay with it.
So I've been showing this off for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah,
and, I did my video and a couple of shorts, and then we had this on last week. Let's talk about this for a second. Your company is Badfeather Knives, and this is the Raider Creek EDC. Tell me about how you thought of this out the front fixed blade knife.
Well, I've designed products for a company called Mountain Safety Research, camping gear. That's my background, along with farming. And I've always wanted, I really like fixed blade knives for their simplicity and toughness. And I wanted to design, I had this idea a long time ago of a way to make a fixed blade that would be pocket carry. And I wanted to come as close as to that as I could. And I worked on it for about 3 years. I came up with a whole bunch of different locking mechanisms. And this design, when I got to this locking mechanism, I knew I had it because, there were certain things I wanted to happen with the design. I think being able to take apart a knife is important, because especially in the kind of work that I do, if you're using it out in gritty environments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So and I wanted this ability to lock it out at any length was an extra really with this locking mechanism. I have a couple other locking mechanisms that I'd like to introduce, but I like this one for that reason, and it's a very tough fixed, full tang knife. I'll let other people decide what to call it. Is it a fixed blade knife? I've had people actually. I did this little version of it. That's the blade, right? With a wrap. So it's like, well, it's kind of a fixed blade knife with a handle that slides, over the tang. So, but it is what it is, and I'm not quite sure what to call it, but it meets my goals of being a very stiff knife and easy to clean. I have one video of where I take this thing and put it on a 55-gallon drum and pound it in with a mallet, 14 gauges of steel, and it does fine, because what is it? It's just a big spike of really good steel, right? I mean, this is really good. It's a really good steel, and it's like pounding a big heavy spiked nail into something. It's a tough knife, and it avoids the weakness of folding knives, which is a joint, right? I mean, a joint is always going to, if you have in a gritty place, the bearing is gonna, could freeze up on you and stuff like that. So this avoids the joint. That's the thought.
Something about the lock that unless you have it in hand, Split and Slices says, Bob, my only carry for 2 days is a sharpened chopstick that makes it into the Eagle Sphere show. Oh, very nice. My birthday and Christmas gift. Well, congratulations and happy birthday, sir. That's awesome. This lock, the way it feels, if you are, it's hard to say. It's
basically a vise.
Okay.
It's a vise. Can I show you can I show you the guts?
Yeah.
All right. Let me see if I can do this with I have a little camera here, so forgive I don't do the computer camera thing very often, but let's see if I can do this.
Nice. Well, in the meantime, Northern Knives, good to have you here, Northern Knives. He says, Hey, junkies, Jim and Bob. How's it going? Sorry I'm late. Cigar Lounge got in the way. Ooh la la. That sounds pretty nice, man. Mike, we're talking about this awesome Badfeather Raider Keep knife. It's I'm calling it a fixed blade out the front, but it's a fixed blade with a sliding handle that locks down like a vise. King of Knives says, and its designer and maker Dan Vorhis is here with us to give it away to one lucky gentleman junkie. So that could be you, actually, Mike. King of Knives says, I'm carrying my TKEL Agent 002. Nice. Tarani CQC drop point Night Stalker. And the Tarani CQC, Night Stalker, drop point Night Stalker, and the Spyderco Mannix 2. That Tarani knife, I don't think they're making that anymore. So that's a pretty cool one to have. Matthew WW. Matthew, nice to have you here, man. Good evening, Mr. DeMarco and Knife Junkies. Great to be here. It's great to have you with us. So, Dan, you got your camera set up on the.
I'm ready. Okay, so I was laughing last week when I saw you using this little magnet to hang up the knife.
Oh, well, what do you use it for?
Well, so it's designed to disassemble the knife. So if I'm in the house, I'll do it with this one. If I'm in the house and I want to disassemble to clean, you just take this magnet and you remove this ferromagnetic lock nut off of here. There we go, just like that. And then you unscrew this, and that's the whole knife, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you can take it apart. It's got 5 pieces. You can take it apart to clean it, which I think is really important. Like, if you're hunting, you get gunk in there. If you're dressing the animal, if you're in a gritty, sandy environment, you'd be able to take it apart and rinse it out and put it back together. And the putting back together is probably the trickiest part. It's not too difficult. If you forgive my hands, all of me and my brothers all have a shaky hand, whatever they call that. Oh. But so you put this in. Am I still under the camera?
Yeah.
There you go. And then you get this to just about where you want it, tightened down about like that. And then you pop this lock nut back in like that, and there you're back in business. So you can take the knife apart and put it back together. If I'm in the field and I don't want to carry this magnet, I just go like this, loosen it up, put this about like that, so about halfway open, and then give it a good wrap, and the lock nut comes out, and that's the whole thing right there. So you can do that out in the field. Yeah.
You must have thought I was a knucklehead talking about hanging it, because I do love hanging it. That's how I'm storing it. But yeah, it's a tool, because the magnet is so damn strong.
Yeah, it is. That neodymium, they know, and they're really shock resistant too. When I was nervous about putting a magnet in a handle like that, but the neodymium, it'll go 100 years and lose 3% of its power. They're amazing magnets.
Look at that. Oh my gosh.
Hey, yeah. Awesome.
That's fast. That's awesome.
The other thing that I wanted to say about the whole idea of the polish. So polish, you're right about, it makes things go through material quicker by and large. But it's also when you have a polished stainless, you can get between 10 and 15 times less surface area. You may have to play with you're going to have to learn how to do that adjustment, Bob.
Yeah.
It takes a little trial and error, but you'll get it. It's not too much to. What you want to do when you adjust it correctly is you want this to still have room. You want the lever to still have room to push in. You know what I mean? You don't want to bottom it out on the handle.
Right.
So,
right. Okay.
There's a little gap. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's a little, you want to leave it so that it when you squeeze it as hard as you can, it still has room to go, right?
Hey, Chip,
I hope
put up
that makes sense.
Mike Hauser's comment. I wanna read that. Yeah, I see what you mean. There we go. I got it. Mike Hauser says, "Cool. Have to go with farmer designed and approved. Being from Nebraska, lots of sand here on the river."
Yeah. No, the cleaning part, you open up bags of lime or anything you're doing with the dirt, it gets into a bearing and it's a mess, right? I mean, you end up grinding your bearings. So I always laugh when I see those shows showing the fancy, the $70,000 SUVs driving in the beach sand, right? It's like, yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
Matthew says, "Very cool disassembly." All right,
and then,
now I'm gonna have to do this when I'm not under.
Yeah. The polish thing the polish thing has to do with corrosion and cleaning. Primarily, you get about 10 to 15 times less surface area on a polished stainless compared to a non-polished stainless. So that 10 to 15, that's on a micro, when you look at it with the scanning electron micrograph, you get a lot less surface area. People don't realize if you have an aluminum surface polished, that's almost 100 times less surface area than unpolished aluminum. Stainless is less. Stainless is 10 to 15 times different surface area. Less, and that means less corrosion, and that means easier to clean. And that's why this is polished.
Look, I got it. I just couldn't do it under the camera, but look at that. That is so cool. All right, I'm really this is like a whole new world, just like the Disney song.
So you probably need to take that lock nut out and do it again, so you have a little bit more. See where it's bottoming out.
Yeah,
you don't want to do that.
Yeah,
it tells you how to do that in the instructions, basically.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, there is a really nice set of instructions that comes with the knife to help in the disassembly, and oh man, that's cool. All right. I'm going to show it like this and pretend that I didn't put all that slop into the action. But Cold Steel Collector 808, nice to have you here, sir. Evening, junkies. Haven't been able to catch a live stream in a while. Hope all is well with you fine gentlemen. Aloha. Well, aloha to you, sir. It's great to have you here with us. We have Dan Vorhis of Badfeather Knives with us, showing off this really cool out the front fixed blade. That's what I'm calling it right now. The Raider Creek EDC. We're going to be giving one of these away in 22 minutes to one lucky Gentleman Junkie. Gentleman Junkie is our high tier of support on Instagram. This is so cool. I'm going to be doing this over and over now.
And there was one other thing, Bob. As far as opening it, you were trying to do a gravity open. And here's how I open it. Just push it. Right. So you want to take it out of your pocket. Let's see if I'm in the thing there. Right. You do this. You got your gloves on or whatever. You just go like that. Push the tang against your thing, and you're all ready to go. So that's it. And then so it's all one hand. That's
perfect. That is cool. All right. I think I got it now, so that the slop is I've taken out the. Oh, this is so cool. All right. Well, I'm glad you just showed me how to do it, because I was looking at the directions, but I got to say, I personally am not a tinkerer until I have to be. Like, I don't take stuff apart until I have to.
I'm not either. My wife got me a shotgun for Christmas, and I looked at the instructions on how to take it apart. I was like, I couldn't figure it out. I went on YouTube, and a guy in 4 minutes told me how to, it's a pump action thing. In 4 minutes, he took it all apart. I was like, I get it now.
The Cold Steel Collector 808 said, very cool design. Ron Dobbins says, I'm carrying Golden Design Nugget in titanium scales and Asher Spiro. Very nice. Warncliffe. I like that one. In blue carbon fiber, and Jack Wolf Venom Chavez titanium pry bar key set today. Very nice. Very nice carry there, by the way. Hit that thumbs up. Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. Hit that thumbs up, please. I wanted to ask you. Oh, wait. James Hart says, as I watch tonight, I am cleaning and oiling my collection of cold steel large folding knives and touching up edges. Now, this is something I love to hear, Dan. When people are watching this show, they're noodling around with their knives, it's like a great opportunity for them to hang out and get their knives done. Fred the Lug, good to have you here, Fred. I was going to ask you, you worked for Mountain Research. Is that what it's called?
The company's called Mountain Safety Research, MSR, and make camp stoves. A lot of people know their camp stoves, Whisper Light stoves, and other stoves, snowshoes, all kinds of pretty cool water filters, really cool camping gear, and well made camping gear. So it was a lot of fun working for them. You couldn't wait to go in and work in the morning. It was just a blast.
Nice. Oh, that sounds great. Mike of Northern Knives said, your wife got you a shotgun for Christmas? She's a keeper. Fred the Lug carrying his tri-stash and a Spymito. What is that? I know the tri-stash. That's a beautiful knife. But I don't know what the Spymito is. Cold Steel Collector 808. MSR is a very reputable brand.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So what did you specialize in designing before you took the personal turn to designing knives?
At MSR, I designed, I designed water filtration devices for quite a little while. That was a battle, mostly because of the competition wasn't being honest about what their products did. And we were, so that was a battle. That's a long story I could bore you with someday. We did a dromedary bag, Whisper Light International. I did the shaker jet design on that. The dromedary bag was my patent.
What's a dromedary bag?
It was one of the first of the collapsible canteens back when I was camping, in my early 20s and stuff. The only flexible canteen was like a shopping bag with a vinyl bag inside. And so the dromedary bag was actually designed to be a collapsible canteen. So it was nice because if you have a backpack, space is a premium. So, having something you could, when it was out of water, it rolled up into a little nothing was an advantage. Everybody's using Nalgene bottles and stuff in those days.
Right. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like the idea of. I'm sort of getting into camping stuff lately, and I haven't been camping in over 20 years or so. But come springtime, I was saying during the fall, I'm about to go out, and it got really cold, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not. I don't think I'm made of that stuff quite yet. I only went winter camping once, and I can't say it was a good experience.
Yeah, that's if. That can be pretty intense, especially if you don't have the gear.
Yeah. Pete Davidson says of your knife, nice knife reminds me of those knives that appear sheathed until you press the end against your target to reveal the blade. Banned in Australia and classified as a gravity knife. Interesting. I think I know which ones you're talking about, and I haven't seen one of those in a long time. My buddy of mine had one, and you would press the button and the sheath flew in, kind of like reverse out the front, which I'm sure will become a thing because there's a reverse everything knife out there. James Hart says, I have a dromedary bag, carried it when I hiked in Yellowstone back in 1995. Nice. Angry Tom's Hat Next Door. Good to have you here, Angry Tom. Hello, everyone, he says. Well, hello to you. So you are a farmer also. You've been farming. How does a knife work into your everyday farming activities? I'm sure it's
so knife is probably, if you have only one tool in your pocket, that's it. And we're fruit trees, so we have just a small farm here, and I propagate apple trees and other kinds of trees, and teach a few classes about grafting and how, trying to teach mostly local folks that want to learn how to have their own orchard. So I teach them how to do that. We have maybe, if I haven't been doing that about 10 years, and it's a lot of fun. Growing your own fruit is a blast. People don't know there's like 7,000 different kinds of apples. And some of them, so many really good apples that people have never tasted, that And a knife is just part of the whole thing. You know, you're up on a ladder and you have to clean up a cut, you know, from a pruning thing, and you need a sharp knife to do that. It's in the winter and you got your gloves on, and so, you know, it's a tool. It's a good tool, and I share your enthusiasm. I've heard you talk for quality tools. That's what it is.
So
it's frustrating. It's frustrating you know, I know there's a whole tactical wing, you know, and it's like, you know, when you try to market a knife on through Meta or somebody, they always assume that it's a weapon, and for a lot of people, it's not. It's just a tool.
Yeah, yeah, and for people like me, I like weapon knee knives. I love all knives. That's hence the name. But I love weapony knives, but I'm not a bad guy. You know, I'm not starting trouble. So I could see, you know, the frustration.
I studied martial arts and taught martial arts for 20 years. The same thing. You know, I have really cool swords in there, but you know, it's also a tool. It's just a tool.
Yeah. So tell us about Badfeather Knives as a company. What do you have other designs, and are you is this something you want to turn into you know, a bigger, not bigger, but I mean, what are your plans for Badfeather Knives?
Well, I originally started I wanted to get this design out in the marketplace, this idea of a fixed blade that goes in your pocket. And I was thinking, I need a tractor, so I'll license this to somebody, and you know, who does sales and marketing, because the sales and marketing is not my forte. I've learned that you kind of almost have to start a business before. In the old days, you could get a patent or something, and companies would be interested in licensing. And we, as at MSR, we would occasionally license products from outside designers, but that doesn't happen as often for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. People are more cautious. Companies I've been told, if you have a new product idea, somebody will buy your company before they'll buy a product, you know, so by more than one company. And so I realized that if I really wanted to do something with this, I would have to start a company, which is fun. It's enjoyable, but it's honestly, I'm a designer primarily, and the sales and marketing part of it is like not the thing that I would prefer to spend my time doing.
Yeah, there are people who specialize in that aspect of business.
They're good at it.
Yeah, and love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think so now I'm doing it without even looking. Taking it apart.
Awesome.
And so if this isn't for hanging, which now I know it's not, why a hook?
Oh, just because that's the format that I could get without doing tooling. You know, you can grab it and you can take it on. And I just throw that into the package as a you know, a gratis, you know. That's not, you know, it just fits in the box, you know. You could do whatever you wanted, but it does have a nice strong neodymium magnet on there, and the neodymium that's part of the handle is also quite strong, so it has to wrestle that. Those two have to wrestle, and the portable one, this little guy, has to win that wrestling match.
Oh, right. James Hart says, when I leave my house, I have 2 knives and a multi-tool on me. I have for many years. Now I carry a large cold steel folder for self-defense. I love the large cold steel folders. Those things are awesome, not just for self-defense, but they're like little mini machetes that you can throw in your pack. You know, when you open them up, you've got a good size knife there. Craig Vincent says, most of my knives are reversed edge retention knives. They only get dull if I sharpen them. They only nice. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's depending on what sharpening system you get, you can run into some issues with that. So are you building these yourself, or do you have these by someone?
So I did the design work. Of course, you know, for the blade, there's 6 or 7 vendors. You know, Crucible, Powder Metallurgy, who I can't remember the name of the company that makes the sheet material out of the CPM, powder steel. And then Larkin Precision, Bradford Knives, did the grinding. The heat treat gets done down in Portland. So there's a whole bunch of different vendors that go into making this. We grind with a wet, low RPM wheel, the final edge, which I really like. I mean, I'm just delighted with this blade and this material. If most of the people that are listening tonight probably are very familiar with the powder metallurgy steels, but this 59 to 61 Rockwell C CPM S35 VN is a lovely steel. Stainless, and it's a wonderful edge. It holds an edge. I've been using this one. I don't know if you can see. So I've been using this knife for about 3 years, and I touch that up every morning. And that's look at how little material I've removed from that. I just love this steel.
Do you generally tend to strop it?
No, I use a flat 1200 grit diamond on a stainless backing, and sometimes I use a little rod, a little 1200 grit diamond rod to touch up the edge. To me, sharp enough before I head out the doors. If I hold the edge up to a bright light, and if I don't see any reflection, that's going to work for me that day.
Oh, okay. Todd Carr says Niagara Specialty Metals.
Thank you. That's it. I'll tell you what, every one of those, I was really sad to listen. Yeah, Brad Larkin, Brad does great work down there. Bradford Knives, right? I was really sad to learn. Is it true that CPM as Crucible is out of business?
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Boy, I sure hope that. I hope that's just a temporary thing. They do really good work.
Yeah. Actually, last I heard was that they filed Chapter 11. So I don't know if that means that they're done, but
somebody might pick them up and continue the work. I hope.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, Mike Hauser says, did I miss the blade length? Oh, what is the blade length?
3 inch. You got it right. I think when you mentioned it the first time, it's a little over 3 inches, but it's pretty darn close to 3 inches.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like they are the ones who sell the most steel to the knife industry. But maybe knives isn't enough to keep a place like that open. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pete Davidson says, as I gained more knowledge, I find myself less concerned with the weapon aspect of my EDC knife and more on the utility. I have other legal tools that can be used for defense. Yes, indeed. I mean, I feel like on that subject, people are way more horrified by defending yourself with a knife than even defending yourself with a pistol or a gun, because it's just got a up close and personal aspect.
Yeah, and you can do a lot of damage with a screwdriver when it comes right down to it. So it's almost silly in a way. Again, we were involved in martial arts for many years, and everything is a weapon. And
what martial art were you doing?
I studied Mudok Kwan, Chong Mukwan, and Tong Sudo, Korean martial arts. So in Cincinnati and out here in Seattle, we were so about 20 years, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful, but I never got into a fight once I started training. I used to get into fights before I started training, but once you start training, it's like you don't need to. People kind of sense that you're not afraid of them, and so the bullies don't bother you. I've been lucky enough to not have to use a weapon on anybody.
Yeah, let's hope that trend keeps up. Ed says, he said he's not a great marketer, but he's doing great right now. Todd Carr, anything could be used as a weapon. Trying to cut your steak with a brick takes a lot of skill, though. Yeah, that is true. That is true indeed. Let's see. You know what? I'm thinking something that has to be mentioned is this rides very nicely in the pocket. I was wondering, because it's longer than, say, this, Kershaw here,
For sure.
almost by half, but it drops right in the pocket, and the mass keeps it low in the pocket, but the slenderness of just dealing with the blade tang, and this coming out the sort of at the very tail end of the seam of your pocket, keeps it all really nicely, I don't know, oriented in the pocket. It's not like, in other words, it's not like carrying a knife like this. This is a large Dragotac from Bastinelli. This takes up way more space in your pocket, even though it's slightly shorter. You know what I'm saying?
You did a really nice job of how you described that, I think, Bob. I've lost probably maybe 6 or 7 knives on our farm. I've never found them. Actually, that's not true. 2 of them I found. One of them I went back and found my knife hanging in the fence. It's like, who knows when I lost it, when it got snatched out of my pocket. The other time, my son was a baseball player. He actually played professional baseball. He played 3 years with the St. Louis Cardinals as a pitcher. But we used to go over to the mainland and to the batting cages. And I remember going back to the batting cages, seeing my knife hanging in the netting of the batting cages. It just gets snatched out of your pocket. And it's the type of pocket clips where it comes back out a little bit, right? So to make it easy to put in. And so I wanted to avoid that with this. I wanted to avoid the snatchability, of this. The weight part is a big part of it. And also the fact that it doesn't have that little thing that comes back out. So every time you walk by a twig or a piece of fencing or a netting or something, and that's important for people that work on the crab boats out here. And it's those knives are not cheap, and you look in your pocket and it's not there. It's like you don't know where it went.
That's a sinking feeling.
Yeah.
Pete Davidson wants to know, does the tang of that knife have any prying or scraping abilities?
It's funny. A lot of people say, "Oh, you got to put a wrench on there, or you got to do that." It doesn't. Right now, it's just a tang. I try to keep it simple. I don't want to try to mimic, Leatherman or something like that, where you start having all kinds of other junk on there. But there are some things that I've thought about doing. I'll just tell you one of them. So one thing I'd like to have is a sharpened. I was thinking about one of these faces, do an inset of a flat diamond, something you could touch up, because this blade separates from the handle. You could have something, a little 1200 grit thing where you could come through here and touch up that edge when you're out in the field or something like that. Take advantage of the fact that the blade, that it disassembles easily, and your handle can now be a sharpening tool as well as a handle without interfering with it being a handle. That's not going to happen anytime soon, but because it's all about capital right now, you do what you can. Me and my wife Bernie, she was with me. To make 500 of these is not cheap, and jumpstarting a company is not easy. So I have to sell these before I go to the next version.
Oh yeah. A couple of things. First of all, Northern Knives says CPM has declared bankruptcy, but not their first time. Carpenter applied for their intellectual property. Interesting. Thank you, Mike. Also, someone said, I don't remember who now, that this looks a lot like a pen clip, more like a pen clip than a knife clip, which is Mike Hauser, which is a good way to go, because it keeps you low profile. And there was a third interesting comment, and I just bent my iridium clip like that. And funny, because this is the iridium, isn't it? The Kershaw iridium? I think so. But I have bent the clips many times, and usually it's sitting down on my duff at my chair at work. It'll if I just flop down, sometimes it'll grab the arm of the chair will grab the clip and bend it out, and it's like, God.
Yeah.
Doug Bowl, good to have you here, Doug. Bob, most people fear a knife more because having been cut at some time relating to being cut. Oh, yeah. Where few people have probably been shot. Yeah, that's a good point. All right. I said I was gonna have to keep myself honest because we are ending a half hour early tonight at 11:30. So usually I say we're giving the knife away at 11, and it's usually 11:30 when it ends up happening. But let's do this. And first, I want to thank all of our patrons, not just the Gentleman Junkies, but everyone. But tonight, Gentleman Junkies, this knife is for you. Not this one. This one's mine. Yours is over there, sitting unmolested on my knife case over there. But I want to read off you Gentleman Junkies names and honor you. Thank you so much. 5-door, we got Ben Belkin, Billy Ford, Byron Kennedy, Colin Maison-Pierre, Craig Vincent, Donald Fry, Doug Bull, EDC Gear Guy, Edwin Callow, Gavin Colitis, Isaiah Ramirez, Jay McConnell, Jason, Jeff Hamilton, Jeff Wright, Jesse Tellis, Jock's Knife, JVF, Larry Elizondo, Mark Salva, Martin Gamboa, Never Enough Knives 007, Pat D's Nuts, Ronald Reimer, Scott Nelson, Thomas Butler, V2, thanks, Dad, Northern Knives, and Will B. And I got to say, every time I say Pat D's Nuts, it makes me giggle because I am 14 years old at heart. All right, guys. Thank you, one and all, for your support. We really appreciate it. Your name is on the Wheel of Destiny, and let's bring that up, Jim, for whoever will win this Badfeather Knives Raider Creek EDC. Oh, as Jim brings up the wheel, Raider Creek, is that the creek close to where you live?
I love hiking, and it's a cool name trail that I hike on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I like to hike.
Love it. All right. Well, let's have you count down from 3, and then we'll spin the wheel.
Oh, am I counting down?
Yeah, it's your knife.
Very cool. 3, 2, 1.
All right. See, and it'll always like fake stop somewhere. Oh,
Ronald.
Yeah, very nice. Ronald Reimer. I believe he's with us tonight. I will get this I know this is going to be a long distance shipping, so I will get this to you shortly. Ronald, I know I have your email, but if you don't mind, for just sake of brevity, just drop it in an email to TheKnifeJunkie@gmail.com, and I will get this out to you. I don't think it's happening tomorrow, but definitely on Monday. Because for this shipping job, I have to go to the post office. Jay Demeter says, looks like a combination square sold at hardware store. Oh, interesting. So congratulations, Ronald. Sword XXXY. I'm very, very happy to be sending this out to you. So do drop it. Do drop your address in the old email, and I will get this out to you post haste as soon as I can. Thank you so much, Dan, for donating that knife to the channel and this knife to me. I really, really love it and appreciate it. And it's gotten a lot of oohs and ahs because it's something different, and you can just tell it's intuitively that it's very strong. I also like the fact that the blade can be any size. Jerry C says, great show tonight, gentlemen. Thank you, Jerry. It's greatly appreciated. But yeah, you're going to open up that box of very delicate stuff. Boom, like that, right?
Yeah,
tiny
exactly.
little knives that you can.
Exactly. And thanks so much for having me on. If the gentleman that won the knife wants to get in touch with me, has any questions, he can get in touch with me on via Badfeather Knives. My email's on there, the website.
Awesome.
So anyway, it's great seeing you face to face, Bob. I hope in person sometime.
Well, Dan, it was great to have you, and I'd love to have you on the main interview show and talk with you for an extended period.
That'd be fun.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
All righty. Thank you so much, sir. Take care.
All right.
There he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Vorhis of Badfeather Knives, generously donating a knife to the cause, the Gentleman Junkie cause. And this knife will be going far. And I'm looking forward to this going worldwide, baby. And I'm really excited now that I didn't figure it out. Now that he showed me in person how to take this apart, and that this isn't just for hanging, or isn't for hanging at all, but that's how I do it. What a great knife and what a great tool. Thanks for the show, Dan, says Split and Slices. Indeed, Byron. So well, I didn't have, I didn't have to kick him off. He could have stuck around, but so I got a bunch of knives out here on the table. We got to talk about. We got 25 minutes. I want to hear about what you guys are looking forward to. What you're because all of these knives are starting to drop, and I'm really excited about some of the things I've been seeing from SHOT Show coverage. Ed says that's a cool one for sure. Yes, no doubt, and it's unique, and I love that. Thanks, Bob and guys, says Sword XXXY. Our pleasure, sir. So again, don't forget your address. Email it TheKnifeJunkie@gmail.com. Thanks, Dan, and have a good night, says Northern Knives. Yes, indeed. Thank you, sir. I look forward to actually talking about some of the design work, designing stuff for mountain research. Is that what it's called? I remember in high school, a very good close friend of mine was really into outdoor stuff. And I wish I was now too, because that would have been a great way for us to bond as friends, but I just wasn't into it. Now he's not, and I am, or I want to become. So Todd Carr says, is the magnet on the outside very powerful? This magnet, oh, there he is. This magnet is very powerful, and it really does snatch out the this little gear piece really easily. So yes, Todd, it is quite. Hey, Dan, how's it going, sir?
Here I am.
Well, since you're here, let me just have you answer that. Todd was asking if the magnet on the outside is very powerful.
Oh, you mean the magnet in the handle? It's a strong. It's like they rate neodymium magnets by a number. So 52, I think, is the strongest available, and they go down into the 30s that are much weaker. This is a 50 or 52, I can't remember, but it's not very thick, right? It's only what is it? I can't remember. It's not very thick, so the mass has something to do with how strong it is. The purpose of that magnet is basically so that when you loosen things up, that lock nut doesn't just fall out, right? Once you cinch things down with the lever, once the lever is cinched down, then things aren't going to move here. But when you're taking it apart or changing it, you'd like that lock nut not to just fall out on the ground. So that's what that neodymium is permanently attached to the handle for. Does that make sense?
So this right here, oh, sorry, Jim. This right here is the magnet, right?
Let's
right
see.
in
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I can take it apart again. Yeah, that's down inside there, and that's permanently attached to the handle. And the whole purpose of that is to hold this lock nut, we call it. It's a martensitic stainless, so it's ferromagnetic, and that lock nut is held in place when you loosen the knife up to move it, so that that lock nut doesn't just fall out, right? That's the purpose of that magnet, basically. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense to me. But I have it in hand. I think Todd was wondering, but I think that explains it. So is this going to be the first one? This is going to Down Under. Is this the first knife that's going there? Do you think?
Down Under. I'm not sure what you mean.
Australia.
Is this the first?
Oh, I'm sorry. What I'm saying is the gentleman who won this lives there.
Oh, he's in Australia.
Yeah, this is going.
Wow. I think this is the first knife in Australia, the first Raider Creek in Australia. Cool. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Spread the word, sir. So there was a credit card friendly for front pocket wallets, says Mike Hauser.
I don't get it. Sorry.
I think he's referring to the magnet that's on the knife itself. Is that going to erase
is the magnet gonna interfere with your credit card? I don't think so. It's embedded in the handle, so it's quite a little ways down. I don't know if you can see that. It's quite a little ways down.
I mean,
off the surface
strong,
of the handle.
I highly doubt it's that strong.
Yeah,
but I could be wrong.
It doesn't have a lot of mass. It's only about 10 millimeters, I think, thick. So it's not a big, massive magnet.
Pete Davidson says, hope it doesn't get held up by Aussie Customs. Well, I'm going to put in there that it's a male grooming kit. That's what I usually do when I send
Say
stuff to England.
Yeah, or a square, like the other gentleman said.
Oh,
yeah, it does look like a square. Those kind of squares that you flip up 90 degrees or catch an angle.
Yeah. Todd Carr, makes sense, but I wonder if the magnet will attract metal particles and such and get caught up in the mechanism.
Well, it's not much of a mechanism. It's just a magnet. So if you do get little magnetic particles sticking in there, you can easily, just disassemble and clean them out with something. But like I said, I've been carrying this for 3 years and in all kinds of situations, and that hasn't been an issue.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, you're on a farm, you're doing a lot of different kinds of work every day.
I'm not in a machine shop. So, but I have a friend who is a tool maker, and he's been carrying it around for a while too. And he hasn't mentioned that to me. I think learning how to take it apart and cleaning it, like when you were saying you don't like to take stuff apart unless you don't, but once you learn how to take it apart, it's so easy to clean. That's different from other knives.
Well, yeah, it's different from
blade.
It's different from, say, taking apart something like this that's got a bunch of little. I'm holding up a XM18, and these are relatively easy, but it doesn't have a bunch of little
springs and screws and stuff
that can get lost, and it's not going. It's called a bevel gauge. Thanks, Connell. But and sometimes when you reassemble a knife, and again, a knife like this that has such tight tolerances, not much of an issue. But you have to noodle around with getting it lined up so that both scales are exactly parallel, so that the blade is straight and all that. You don't run into all that with this because it's so simple.
How many knives are you aware of, Bob? Like pocket knives that you can take apart easily, that are designed to be taken apart?
I think they all are at this point. Hang on, James Hart says, it's not that I need another knife, but it is a unique design. Yes, spoken like a true knife junkie. I think most of them are these days made to be taken apart because they know that's what the market is right now. People love to get their knives, take them apart, oil them up, do all that kind of stuff. But it's like a knife. Well, this is a bad example. This is one that's pinned together, and that's very rare these days. So this one you cannot. So I picked up the wrong one. But you're not going to be taking apart your hinderer in the field to clean it. I really don't think that's going to happen. This is something that you can take apart in the field to clean because you're not going to be losing parts. You don't need a screwdriver or anything. All you need is the magnet to pop out the.
And you don't even need that. You need a log, really. It's designed for hunters. If you're dressing a deer, right? You can put the tip out so that you don't cut guts. You don't penetrate into places that you don't want to do damage. And when you're doing the boning, you can open the blade all the way, and when you're done, you can take it apart, knock the lock nut off on a log, and rinse it in the creek. Yeah, that's what it's designed to do.
Doug asks, Dan, what is the total length without the blade extended?
It's 7 inches, whether it's extended or not, right? So it's 7 inches, 7 inches.
Oh yeah, duh. Yeah, that makes sense. I wasn't thinking that, but yeah, you're right, because it's the length of the blade,
Right.
the blade in the tank, since it's one. Sword XXXY says, thanks again, Bob and Dan. I know it's my pleasure, and I'm sure it's Dan's.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Todd Carr says the adjustable blade length is a cool feature. Yeah, I agree.
There's a friend of mine who works with old cars, and he puts in this what do they call it? Kick panel. It's like this thick cardboard. It's really thick. It's almost like 3/16 or more. And he said the thing he really likes about this knife, and he can open that point up like just a little bit, cinch it down real tight, and then he can get really good leverage when he's cutting that. So instead of going over that cardboard with a razor blade, half a dozen times, he can just go in and just cut the cardboard with one cut. So yeah, it does have advantages of being able to get your hand right down next to the blade and do a cut like that.
And when you're doing that, you're also you're using the thin part of the knife too, which makes it easier to cut through, and you're also not deforming the edge. Not the edge of the knife, but the edge of the cut material. Mark Stallman says, evening knife lovers, evening to you, Mark. That Badfeather is interesting, he says. Yep. The Badfeather Knives, Raider Creek, EDC. I don't know. I like saying it. I say it a lot. James Hart says, well, good evening, all. James, always a pleasure. I have boxes to finish breaking down before the garbage pickup in the morning. I will use my Raja 2 XL. Yes, James. I love it. Yep, those big knives. Have a great night and a great weekend, James. Yeah. Pleasure having you. Mad Hatter, good to have you here, Mad Hatter. CRKT Homefront by Ken Onion comes to mind as a quick take-apart knife for field cleaning. Yes, that's about. Yeah, I think that's about the only one I can think of that Ken Onion field strip technology or whatever they call it. That is one of the few.
Yeah, I don't think I can be put in the class with Ken Onion. But
few can. But, he's been doing it a long time. So you're an Ohio boy? You grew up in Ohio?
Yep, I did. Lebanon, Ohio. Do you know that?
Oh,
southwestern Ohio.
Oh, yeah,
near Cincinnati, north of Cincinnati.
Yes. Okay.
Yep. My little sister still lives on the farm where we grew up.
Oh, nice. I grew up outside of Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
So northeast Ohio. Yep. I go home a couple of times a year, and I love it there.
Yeah.
And it's a strong knife state. Not as strong as others, like some, but I've spoken to a lot of people, and just recently from there. Nice Hinderer, Bob. Just picked up an XM18 sheep's foot today. Ooh, sounds nice. I love me a Hinderer knife. And this one here I had reground by Josh at Razor Edge Cutlery. So it's nice. It's a true Sponto with the compound grind. So he did a beautiful job on that. And my beloved maroon micarta, which for a long time looked black because I cut some pork ribs with it. And I'll tell you what, pork fat really darkens micarta. Jay Demeter says Midgard made a knife for a YouTuber, Jorg Spave, called The Snake, sold through Go Gun Co. Good way to make knives. Okay, Midgard's Messer. So you're talking about the German company made a knife for YouTuber Jorg Spave called The Snake, sold through Go Gun Co. Good way to make knives. So Jay, are you saying like a good way to OEM a knife or have someone make a knife for you? I'm interested. Todd Carr says Roxxon makes a knife with 2 switches. Push them down and the whole knife comes apart. Can also buy different blade shapes as well for swapping. Oh, that sounds familiar. I like the idea of having different blade shapes for swapping. Kyle Coonley, nice to have you here, sir. This guy's from Lebanon. That's cool. I'm north of you, 40 minutes. Cole from Tri-State is from Lebanon. Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, Dan is no longer in Lebanon, but that's where he comes from. And Cole is his knife came up in the chat before. The tri-state someone is or the tri-stash someone is carrying tonight. Craig Vincent says the CRKT doesn't have the adjustable blade length feature, so Dan wins that round.
Yeah.
Pound sand, CRKT. Mike Hauser says sand and water will always go everywhere they want, no doubt. Frequently in undesirable places. Nice one-hand design without having to flip. Well played.
Thank you.
Yeah. I also like how you were showing. I don't know why I didn't really think of that. I guess I was so into the idea of making it come out with gravity, but I like the way you just kind of hit it on your hip after you draw it. That seems like the most straightforward way to get to work with it. Paul Mills says, I was going to say there seems to be a lot of knife guys in Ohio. Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of inventors out of Ohio.
Will B. I forgot. He's also an Ohio boy. I'm in Franklin, Ohio. Where is Franklin? Is that Southern Ohio?
Yeah.
Jay Demeter says yes. And now I can't remember yes to what. That always happens to me. I just start talking and then I forget. Yeah. Who was I just? Nick Bachtel. I was just talking to. He's a young guy who makes beautiful American traditional knives. And he's out of Ohio, very close to where my parents live. American Father, nice to have you, an American Father. Dan, I am from NYK, but
Northern Kentucky.
Oh, Northern Kentucky, but living in Vevey, Indiana now. Grew up on the Ohio in Campbell County. Is Campbell County Ohio?
Yeah.
Okay. I know the Ohio River goes through a couple.
Yeah.
Craig Vincent. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was trying to remember exactly where Campbell County is. It's been a while. We've been out here on Whidbey Island for 30 plus years. So my sis calls me up and says, "Hey, I'm going to blah blah blah." It's like, remind me where that is again.
Yeah,
it's been a while. But Ohio and Kentucky. I used to live down in Lexington for a while too. It's beautiful country down there.
Yeah, Kentucky is beautiful. I love Ohio too. I think it's awesome. Jay Demeter says, "Can Google it to see and find out." What I'm going to Google? Yes. What am I Googling, Jay? What was up? Oh, Doug Bull. Got a scoot. Thanks to you and Dan. Hey, Doug, thank you so much, man. Always a pleasure. Have a great and safe weekend, sir, and I will see you here next week.
Yeah.
Will B says, I'm just north of Cincinnati and south of Dayton. I'm like 20 minutes from where Cole grew up. Oh, nice.
So he knows right where Lebanon is then.
Yeah. Campbell County is Kentucky, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the last guy I spoke to, Nick Bachtel, he's in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, and that's south of where my parents are by about 15 minutes. And yeah, it's funny. I joke with my daughters. It's kind of like, and my wife, every time we drive to Ohio, it's always beautiful while we stay. But for some reason, when we drive in, as soon as we cross the border, the skies go steely gray. And but I don't care. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter to me. So let me just ask you before we're about to wrap. Well, about 5 minutes, we'll be scooting out of here as I have to call it early tonight. But Badfeather Knives. What other designs do you have in the offing and I know I sort of pressed you about this before, and you got to keep stuff close to your vest, but.
I have a design. I have a design for a knife that's a two-piece knife. It's a similar. It still uses the handle as the sheath, but instead of a locking mechanism like this, it has a different locking mechanism, and it would be really good as a fillet knife, for example. So there's and I have other designs too, and you're right, I can't really talk about it. The part of the whole process here is the intellectual property part of it, the patent stuff. that would be, I don't know if you're the folks who listen on Thursday Knives want to be bored about that, but if they're interested in designing stuff, I used to be the intellectual property protection coordinator. I helped MSR with that, and I have a dozen patents. So I've been through the process a bunch of times, and there's a lot to know about that people have weird ideas about patents, but really patents are, for somebody like me, that's pretty much the only way you can hope to make it work. And they can be expensive, but they don't have to be. There's ways to do it. So it'd be fun. I don't know if that even fits in with what you do here, Bob, but that piece of the picture, it would be real important for product designers, and especially knife people, I think.
Well, that's definitely something I'd love to talk about when I have you back on for the interview show, because we got into that a little bit with the gentleman I was interviewing last night, and it is an interesting topic. But tell people how they can buy a Raider Creek, where they can go and where they can find out more information, that kind of thing.
They can go on Badfeather Knives website, just www.badfeatherknives.com, and that's the only knife on there, so it's pretty easy to find. And it's all set up for taking a card or whatever, so it's pretty simple.
And you've got videos on there and breakdowns. You have a cool 3D rendering and ways for people to explore the knife.
The instructions are on there. There's a lot of testimonials, videos on there. If somebody were watching your show here and they're in Europe or someplace like that, I would refer them to a company in Seattle. They go by Epicurean Edge, and the other name is the Blade Gallery, and they do a really nice job of shipping internationally. They know what they're doing. They do it all the time. So I would refer that, anybody who wants to buy it from another country is to get in touch with them. And I can give you the link if they email me.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. That's good. That's a good tip, because we have a number of people from Europe who watch the show and a number of people from Australia who tune in, and our guy from Greece, Europe. So, yeah, we have people all over the place, which another great aspect of this kind of thing is knife junkies from around the world can get together on a Thursday night around the coffee table and enjoy.
Yeah. I'm gonna hit like here.
Oh yeah, hit like, you guys, before we wrap, which is what we're doing right now. Okay, Dan, thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Pleasure.
I really appreciate it. It was a real pleasure. And we'll keep in touch and we'll talk some more.
All right. Have a great one, bud.
Thanks, you too. All right, everybody. That does it for Thursday Night Knives tonight. An abbreviated 1.5 hour version. Usually we go for 2 hours, but I have to be up in 4 hours to handle some family business. And, that's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Be sure to enjoy your weekend, but also check in with us on Sunday for a great interview with someone a lot of you guys know and love. And I'm talking about Sharif Manganas. We spoke with him last night, and what a great guy. What beautiful designs he has, and a very interesting story and perspective as an artist / designer. And really enjoyed talking with him, and I can't wait to pick up one of his new knives. Pick up, I say it like it's going to be easy, because I missed the pre-order, but I happen to know he got a couple of extras, so you're going to have to fight me to get it. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me. For Jim, working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying, until next time, don't take dull for an answer.